So after doing a fair bit of research, as I always do when I purchase something, particularly when I want something specific for a usage, such as a lamp for miniature painting, more or less. And a platform I did limit myself to was Amazon. So this is the lamp I want to recommend to you guys because of the following reasons. And I'll provide a link to the CE Sunlight desk lamp, whether it's going to be a referral link or not. I haven't done that yet, so I'm not sure how much of a hassle it is to get that link. Now, as part of my research, of course, I did watch other YouTube videos suggesting lamps. Some of them were above the budget I wanted to spend. Some of them were unnecessary. And the rest, I don't really remember. This was about a month or 2 months ago that I did finally purchase this lamp. So I'm still going off of this being one of the best options on Amazon. There might have been other added things or, those other copy products that are similar. I would suggest that you just look at the numbers, and that's what I was looking at. So this lamp is about $30 to start. Right now it's actually 27 something. So first of all, let's talk about the color range. A lot of these lamps have from warm to white light and a big range in between. And with this lamp, right off the bat, what I'm going to say as the negative, the only negative that this lamp really has, is that range is pretty small. There's only 3 options. But for me, it still works as it has that middle option. And maybe I'm not necessarily that picky. Now, some people may be, especially with more experience and liking a particular light color. So the color range goes from 3000K to 6500K. 3000 is going to be a warm light. The 6500 is going to be a really cool white light. You're going to want the one in the middle, which is, and I had to go out of the way a little bit to find out because it doesn't list it in the information, at 4500K. So if that's already the number you like, then definitely grab this lamp. If you're not sure, then it's probably going to be okay. I think that light range, the 4500K, is going to be a little bit on the warmer side possibly, but for me it makes no issue. The light looks good and you can always balance it out with other lights around too. And I'll get back to how many lights to go with later in this video. Because initially I was actually looking at the other options that have the foldable kind of lights that you have like 1, 2, 3 segmented lights and you can move them over your desk and such. But where this light really beats out everything and made it secure that this is my final decision was its lumens. This lamp utilizes up to 3000 lumens, and that's pretty bright when you're looking at a lot of those other lights, especially in this price range or this look. A lot of the lamps that actually utilize that many lumens go pretty expensive, are over $100 or so. Of course, there may be some cheaper ones, and again, this was a couple months or so ago that I was researching this light, so I'm not sure what's changed on Amazon, but I know this one's still available. And what's also nice about this is that it utilizes LED lights, 108 of them for what it's worth. And it is worth something because if you're using a single lamp like I used to, a single light bulb, then that creates that strong intensity of light, focused light in one area, whereas this kind of spreads them out evenly. So if you dim it down a little bit, you have a nice equal illumination of lighting. And that's really what you want. But a lot of these lamps these days have that. So the other positive also with that 3000 lumens of usage is that it only uses 18 watts. So that's definitely a positive, but then on top of everything, now the color quality, the light quality. How well are you going to see different lights or colors like reds and things like that? And that's called the CRI. Now, I'm the kind of person when I'm doing research, when buying a product, I research everything, I go in depth, I learn everything. As soon as I get the product, I pretty quickly forget everything. But just know these numbers, and you yourself don't have to go into the headache of learning all this stuff. I already did that headache for you, so learn from my efforts in that area. So this number is going to be the CRI, the color index. For this lamp, it is at 95. So that's a pretty decent number up there. That number doesn't say everything. It also depends on that quality. But again, we're looking at a $30 lamp. Let's say $30 to $60, $70 is your budget. This is still the top, especially when you take that 95 CRI with 3000 lumens. That beats everything out there. So that's a pretty strong win on this lamp. Now let's talk a little bit more about the structure and things like that. I've already talked about negatives, the best parts. let's talk about the structure, and maybe one of those things will actually be the best part for you. So some of the features I like about this lamp, I have the one that screws onto the table. I don't know if all of these types or if there's another one, but I screw it onto the table so it's nice and solidly attached. It's got that long neck that's flexible. You can move the headlight area around as you need. The head area light is pretty long. It's like 7-8 inches long and then roughly a couple inches wide. It covers a nice range, and what I also like about the shape of the headlight area with this one that's a little different with the other options out there for this price range is the other ones have these long narrow tubes of light or LEDs. This one has the wider one, which I kind of prefer, and I feel like it applies a better spectrum of lighting onto the surface. Also, the button area on this lighting, it does have a remote, which I don't use. A lot of people prefer the remote, so there is a remote as well. But I use the actual buttons on the lamp, and those are just touch-sensitive buttons, so there's nothing you actually have to push, which is great. You just have to make sure you're sliding your finger over the correct button. But the nice thing about it is if your hands are a little bit dirty or sticky because you're working with some kind of clay or other medium, you just have to slide that finger over there to make it brighter or turn that off, or even set a timer on it, which is nice if you want to time your work and you forget to turn on some sort of timer or something or look at the time. You can always use the little timer on there and it'll turn off at the end of that 30-minute mark or whatever you set it to. I think that about covers everything about this lamp there. The only thing I still wanted to talk about was how many lamps. Now, I've been using one lamp so far, and then I have another backup lamp that uses a light bulb, and I can use that to adjust the color temperature. That one's a little bit cooler. The ceiling light is warmer, so you've got these warm and cool, and this one's kind of in the middle, kind of fighting against each other. So I've been using that one, but if you were to only use this light, I'd say it's totally works. I've painted great miniatures in the past utilizing just the ceiling light and a single lamp. And that lamp created spotlighting that was just too strong at points and most often, whereas this one you can dim it, you can bring it closer, further away, of course, to get that nice smooth lighting effect. So I definitely say one is good, especially with that 8 or so inches of lighting that you have, the LEDs right there. But I'm considering myself actually to buy a second one attached to the other side of the table, just so I can really expand on the angles of lighting on a miniature that I'm working on and things like that. And maybe so I don't have to depend on a light outside and I can put the standing lamp somewhere else in the house. So ultimately, if you do want a bigger range of options of your lighting, for your lighting, then do go with 2 lamps. It'll be about $60. It'll be better than all those ones that have 3 parts or 4 parts or whatever, or open up. This is going to be a better option. You're going to have 2. You can individually position them. Each one is going to give you 3,000 lumens of light. That's going to be mostly too much light if you put them both up to maximum, but you have that option. But along with that, you're going to get all the other positives that I mentioned in this video, my favorite part, and that only small negative that I mentioned. Overall, if you think there's a light for this price that beats this out there, especially on Amazon, please do let me know. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I made this little shopping expedition for you a little bit easier. I know how frustrating and time-consuming it can get sometimes. This was not a sponsored video by any means, just me wanting to share what I learned.